Next call meeting in order.
Time? 6:01. Thank you.
6:01.
Let's have roll call. Director Gregory? Here. Director Calvins? Can you hear from him? Okay. Director Davis?
Here.
Director Baker?
Here.
President Smiley?
Here.
I need a motion to approve the regular meeting agenda.
I'll motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, pass it 4-0 with one absent. Is that a hello, Christine?
Everybody rise for pledge of allegiance. Kindly repeat with me the pledge of allegiance to the flag of our country.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I get a written? Agenda? Printed?
Oh,
Sorry.
you have any extra? Okay. I
There, I can't even one that's updated. Public comment and communications for items not on the agenda. Persons wishing to speak on a matter not on the agenda may be heard at this time. However, no action will be taken until placed on a future agenda. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Please sign in with your name and address at the lectern. I'd like to make an announcement in 3 minutes for the public and 5 minutes for directors tonight.
got it going. Okay, I forgot my bag. Calvin is 6:04.
Mine did too.
President Smiley, if you want to, Director
Calvin, you should have an agenda on there.
Perfect.
Do you?
Wait. No, I don't. No.
You got the,
I got the
Where's all my agendas?
history.
Perfect. Work.
yeah, I've got mine.
One second.
No problem. Oh. Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
that'll work.
Everybody set?
Now we're all set. Everybody got what they need?
Proceed.
Thank you very much. Good evening, board. My name is Greg Grable. I live in Creston, California. I wanted to bring up something that I don't know that the board knows of. So back in September 30th of 2019, there were 6 letters written to the 3 appointed people by Gavin Newsom. Mr. Blumfield, Mr. Crowfoot, and Karen Ross. One of Food and Agriculture, one of them Secretary of Resources, and one of the Environmental Protection Agency. And the 6 letters are written by Randy Record, Jay Lohr, Willie Kuna, Mr. Diffenbaugh, and Mr. Jerry Ray and Dana Merrick. These letters said that they never had any input in anything that was done with water resources over this basin, and that they had this idea for a blended water project, and they wanted some help from the state. 9 months later, Mr. Lohr wrote another letter stating, oh, by the way, the county wrote a letter back and showed how 20 years on every committee that they attended and what they did and how they were involved over time for the last 20 years. So they lied to the state of California. 9 months later, another letter was written by Mr. Lohr stating that your agency was going to provide 200 acre feet of recycled water mixed with something I don't know, and then it would be done in 4 to 6 years. That water would cost $2,900 an acre foot, and that this project would be done in a 4 to 6 year time period. This letter was written 4 years ago. I'd like to know from your general manager how far that process is in, if you're ready to deliver recycled water, what you're mixing it with, the wastewater and the other thing, and why Mr. Lohr could write another letter to the Department of Water Resources stating what you guys are doing, when nobody in the public, and I'm sure none of you know what you're doing on this process. Another falsehood that's been told to the Department of Water Resources by a person that's part of the EPC Water District in a process to get taxpayers in the state to fund infrastructure and water to help them and not protect the basin. And I just want to know if anybody here on this board knows anything about this, or if your general manager knows anything about this, and where you are in the process of infrastructure to deliver 200 acre feet of wastewater mixed with whatever to help Mr. Lohr. Thank you.
Anybody else have public comment? Please approach the lectern. Anybody? Okay. Special presentation, public hearing, San Miguel Community Services District 2022 to 27 strategic plan 1 year review, and provide direction to staff through consensus.
Good evening. Have a presentation. Give me a second. We'll get it started. So, this is the strategic plan review for 2024. When the strategic plan was developed, the board elected to create a new mission statement. That mission statement is the San Miguel Community Service District was formed and remains committed to efficiently serving the community with fire protection, water, wastewater, street lighting, landscaping, and solid waste services in San Miguel. Starting with the water department, the objective for the water department is to identify and deliver high-quality, reliable, and affordable water for district residents. Throughout the presentation, you'll notice at the bottom it has a 2023 LAFCO, SMCSD, MSR, and then a page number. If you look at the MSR that was recently completed by LAFCO, those page numbers coincide to something related to what we're talking about. So if you want to look at that afterwards, then you're more than welcome to. If you have any questions as we go along, feel free to ask. So the first priority for the water department was to provide water supply stabilization and diversification. The task as identified by the board at the time was to diversify the district's water portfolio and reduce groundwater pumping by identifying opportunities to obtain and reuse or use recycled and or surface waters. 3 goals were identified with an estimated completion date, generally in the 2025. What we're going to be doing tonight mainly is reviewing what's on the bottom of this slide, which is the status and our progress. So this one is a long-term project. This project couldn't be done this year, probably won't be, definitely won't be done by 2025, but as it mentions that we will be identifying sources by 2025 and starting the process of determining what is necessary to move on those sources. So in this particular instance, currently we're in design to build a recycled water line under a SIGMA grant for community use, monitoring opportunities to participate. We're also monitoring opportunities to participate in regional water projects involving recycled surface and desalinated water. So right now we're not able to actually move on anything specific, but we are working towards being able to be more self-sustaining through the use of recycled water handling. But we're also looking at regional opportunities to either do trading for surface water or trading for desalinated water as that project moves forward. The second concept is to maintain a strong role in the regional groundwater sustainability planning. This mainly revolves around the PVCC and our GSA's role in the PVCC. This is again a project that's a very long-term project and is in progress.
GPS signal lost.
Sorry. Basically at this point we're continuing to work with as an active member of the PVCC, and that common sense beneficial projects are moved forward. Through the GSP, the PVCC, recycled water projects are being built in Paso Robles and San Miguel. Working with the PVCC staff to bring additional monitoring to San Miguel. So as we've discussed in the past, the GSP identifies some projects, not enough projects, but some projects, and the San Miguel GSA staff are working with other agency staff to try to get San Miguel involved and work on those projects to the benefit of San Miguel as much as possible. Third is increase our water storage on the east side of the river. And as you guys are aware, a month or so ago, the board approved a project to do an assessment or analysis of the location of a booster station and pump site or tank site on the terrace. In this particular slide, it identifies a preliminary scope has been identified, which was used for an infrastructure improvement grant. Board approved an update to the hydraulic model and analysis of prime location for the necessary tank and pump station, and update on federal funding could be available as soon as June 2024, at which time additional work can move forward. This was all discussed a couple months ago when you guys approved the hydraulic model and analysis, and several months ago when you guys approved submitting a grant with the State Water Resources Control Board to fund several water projects, but that included this tank and booster pump station. 4 is commenced with a proactive study of long-term 20-year water needs. We haven't started this. The initial step of this would be to review and update the water wastewater master plans. As you recall, this was put out for proposals in 2023, and we had no responses. So that'll circle back around. We'll resubmit that for proposals to update the water wastewater master plans, and hopefully when this comes back around, there's firms that are available to do that work for us. And then we can use that as a stepping stone to work towards what our long-term storage and pumping needs are. Next, we have wastewater. The objective of wastewater is providing wastewater services for the district residents to meet all state regulations for collection and treatment of wastewater. Again, these are in the MSR, pages 25 to 27. First is to open and operate a new wastewater treatment facility. As you guys are keenly aware, we are deep in design work for this, with an estimated completion of the design in early 2024. And at the moment, the estimate of the design completion to 90% is the end of next month, so the end of February. So that should be coming back to the board probably in the next 2 or 3 months. with permitting estimated to be mid-2024 and construction optimistically in late 2024. Funding is a growing factor in the construction start time. Since the inception of the project in 2018, the costs have escalated, and contractor and material availability has dwindled. So we're seeing this with all our projects, as you guys are aware, but material costs have pretty much gone through the roof, and contractor availability has gone to the ground. So the actual construction start time is maybe delayed significantly in order to get material or be able to get on somebody's schedule to actually build it. And then now we have fire. Scott?
Hello. So, as referenced, you have the 2023 LAFCO MSR, and it's pages 28 through 32, which reference particular items within the fire's strategic plan. And our goal, and we will continue to prepare to meet the growing needs and demands for higher quality fire and emergency services throughout our area. So step one was laid out as a successfully complete the redistricting process within LAFCO and San Francisco County. So that's laid out in the MSR. And there was no estimated completion time for that, but there were some goals that we were trying to meet. And the status is, in October 2023, LAFCO completed the district's municipal service review, stating the need for redistricting of the San Miguel Fire Department process. And it shall begin in February 2024. We're looking at a consultant to help us through this process. LAFCO is complicated, and the MSR was key, was one of the key components, and that just got completed. And the description of our process to procure consulting services, re-engage LAFCO regarding the process, and outline the options to move forward. So there are a couple different ways to go about doing this, but computer's lagging, so I apologize for my delay there. Item number 2 would be install a temporary housing unit / sheriff's beat station. And I'm going to borrow a computer, this one's going really slow. So have the temporary housing unit installed, provide housing for on-duty, on-site enhancement and enhancement response times. The goal is to procure the THU. We did that. The county permits have been a long, ongoing process, and we are still in the midst of that, actually at the tail end of it. And the site improvements will move forward once we have the permit. We can't do any work without the permit. So the status update is continue the final stages of permit acquisition and move to completion. We are close to the pinnacle of that. And the description of the process is we've faced substantial delays prompted by a code violation related to the fire station and additional design requirements by the county permit process, resulting in a delay of completion. So the correction for the code violation for the fire department was a process that needed to be taken care of immediately. So it kind of shifted everything else to the back burner. We were able to work through that. I think it was about an 8-month timeline. Item number 3 is fire apparatus bay has been completed and all equipment moving forward will maintain. These are obviously goals that are future goals. The estimated completion time is laid out on the side, but we are far short from meeting those goals and timelines. So the status update is pending the completion of the temporary housing unit, procurement of design funding is what's needed to move forward with that. And we are researching potential grant funding sources for design and construction of that project. And then that would lead to the remodel of the fire station. So you notice that these are all in a chain, that one link has to move forward before the next link can be pulled. So our completion dates were optimistic, and we are still dealing with the permitting process for the THU. So the planning process for required construction proposal for the apparatus building, that hasn't happened. And we're exploring funding sources for design and construction. So the status for that is it's pending completion of the apparatus bay project, and that is pending completion of the temporary housing unit project. And we are researching potential grant funding sources for design and construction on that as well. And the end goal in all of this is to enhance fire department staffing. So the redistricting is one of the key components to enhance our staffing, and we are constantly working on that. So we are maintaining and providing duty officer coverage as mainly provided by me. And the goal is to be able to respond to new housing by adjusting fire staffing accordingly, and to receive additional funding for redistricting, that's 3.1, to enhance staffing, etc. And the status duty officer coverage is being maintained. We are reapplying for grant funding and proceeding with redistricting as required to enhance staffing needs. And the description of the process is we are reapplying for the SAFER grant, the AFG grant. Those grants are coming up. We did not qualify for the SAFER grant last year. We are reapplying this year. And we are going to procure consulting services required to complete the LAFCO process. So it's kind of a redundancy in what we need. We need consultants and we need funding. And that completes it for fire.
The next section is governance and administration. The objective is to conduct business in a professional and productive manner at all levels. First, we'll continue to work on long-term productive board culture at the San Miguel C.S.D. This is an ongoing venture. We've been working on it. We continue to work on it through all board activities. And the description of the progress here is the board staff continue to work on the public and outside agencies to foster a positive community. Staff is working with the board to maintain required training and perform bylaw reviews on an annual basis. One thing that was sort of lacking in the past has been a regular review of our policies to make sure that what the board's direction is being maintained in those policies so that they can be enacted. So through regular board interaction, through regular board meetings, and bringing the policies back has improved our policies quite a bit. We've been able to align our policies with other agencies so that we're more ready to accept funding or to apply for funding from other agencies because our policies align with the state, align with the county, for instance. And then, as always, additional training never hurts anybody. So the more training that the board can do, the more training the staff can do, just makes us a better agency and more able to respond to issues as they come up and to deal with them appropriately and positively. Second, we have goal for board of directors and deliverables for the goal. This one is for each board member to complete scheduled training as required and to track each board member to assist in keeping them current with their training. So this is something predominantly done by the board clerk. She stays on top of you guys to make sure all your training is done and that any required training is made up as soon as possible if it hasn't been done in a timely manner. And as you guys remember, we don't let you skip out, so show up the after if you don't do it. Moving on from there, we have finance. So in finance, the goal is to adhere to the highest financial standards and processes for financial solvency and transparency. First, we will diligently work to maintain financially responsible water and wastewater rates. It's quite the topic lately. The current progress in this is that we're currently going through a proposed water rate increase, which may go into effect in 2020. It's on the agenda tonight, actually. 2024, sorry, thank you. A wastewater rate review is delayed. Will continue once the funding sources for the treatment plant are confirmed, as we're made aware months ago. The wastewater rate is going to depend on what our loan rate, our loan amount is, so it may go up, may go down, but largely dependent on that. Staff continuously reviews and plans for operational changes to ensure adequate funding and continuity of service to the public. It's something that I do almost daily, that our staff does on a regular basis to ensure that what we need to plan for in the future is adequately funded. Then it's brought back to the board for further review or adjustments as necessary. Second, we will perform a study to outline potential sources of revenue. Again, through the current rate study cycle, we're looking at other options and other sources of revenue. This says it's not started, and largely it's not started. However, it is a conversation that's had throughout the year in pretty much every year. But so we're continually monitoring outside agencies and funding activities and other grant availabilities for applicability, whatever that word is, to the district's programs. There's everybody's having a tough time right now. There's a lot of grants out there, but there's also a lot of grants that are being retracted because of federal difficulties or state difficulties. Third, we'll perform a staffing analysis in support of the district's mission. This is in progress. We talked about it, I think, almost 6 months ago now. This is something that's being done on the staff level. But it's reviewing current staffing and utility department, including decisions and staffing levels, duties, etc. Again, that's in progress. And this is projected to be, some changes will be taking effect in 2024, and some of them are a projection of the 5 and 10 year outlook of what staffing needs to be in 5 or 10 years. So those adjustments will be made as soon as they are necessary. Fourth, we'll perform a district rate study that allows for mission appropriate community related needs. The task is identified as to conduct a board workshop to allow for a broad discussion, clarity, potential, and scope determination of this topic and provide direction to staff. This is not started, however, it has started in a minor sense, as this is something that we do on a regular basis in just direct general funding searches. But this is something that will need to be agendized and put before the board for the board to provide further information on what exactly the board's wanting to get out of it. Obviously, we have our 5 departments. If it's something related to that, then it might work out in the general business of the district. If it's something on the fringe of our regular operational needs, or if it's something outside of our operational needs, then it may be something that we need to identify and then work with an outside agency to actually accomplish. Moving on to community and strategic partner relations. We will be a leading public organization within the San Miguel community. We will facilitate mission-related informational workshops for the overall good of the community. So, obviously, we don't have a ton of people attending our meetings. We have identified as part of the strategic plan to hold additional workshops, on specific topics to help the community in general as it relates to the district. We haven't really had an opportunity to have one of those workshops since the strategic plan was adopted. But as those objectives come up that are more critical, then workshops may be warranted and then can be scheduled on an as-needed basis. So what's next? So, went too far, sorry. Yeah, that's good, okay. So basically, at this point, this is an informational item. If the board has any specific items that they'd like to delve more into, anything that the board as a whole would like to add or take away from the strategic plan, then now is a good point to bring them up. It doesn't have to be tonight, it could be later in the future. If you guys have something you want to talk about tonight, this is more than appropriate. If it's something